And we are live. Welcome back to On the King's Dime, Monday night, the 28th season, very quickly coming to a head. But we have an absolutely action-packed show tonight to bring to you. Sounds pretty good. I can put that away.
Sounds too good to be true.
Yeah, sounds too good to be true. A fantastic win against Perth. What a win, man. That was just one of the best performances I think I've ever seen this Kings play in the last at least 10 years. Comprehensive on both ends of the floor. We're going to get straight into that, talk about that. We won't go off too early. And then, we'll talk about some of the games and upcoming fixtures that are pretty important. Now we've got that one win we were talking about last week. We have an interesting sort of set of games coming up and a real chance to cement that second spot, which would be massive. But as always, we're live right now on Facebook. We are also putting these up on YouTube as a premiere tomorrow afternoon. If you want to watch us kind of in replay, get on there and watch the premiere on YouTube. And then we put these up on the Anchor platform, which goes out to Spotify, to Apple Podcasts, to Google Podcasts, and to, what's the other one? Spotify. Yeah. I think I said that.
Yes, Spotify.
But give us a like and subscribe, rating, review. Let's get straight into that game on Saturday night. What a game. That was just a fantastic performance. The start was just magnificent, watching that team just completely silence the Perth crowd, and really like 3-0 against that team, like have a very interesting sort of a comprehensive set of 3-0 over the Perth Wildcats this season. Like I don't think we've had anything sort of that wasn't a ding-dong battle against them during the season in the last 5-6 years since Gaze, since even probably before Gazy. But yeah, fantastic. You give us your thoughts on the overall game in general to start with.
I think they just took it to them initially and they defended very well on the line, and it was over in the first quarter. I really think it seems like Sydney can now maintain pretty strategically. There's that first push in the third quarter, and Ian Clark came on and just got some easy buckets. It seems like scoring is so easy. It really does. There's so many avenues of capability that teams just don't know what to do. They really don't. And I think ScoMo really struggles in that small ball setup because they don't have, like, Majok's too slow. They don't have that nimble big man who can play really against Cook, Smart, or Martin. And they're too slow on the roll. Sydney's too well drilled. And yeah, man, you see NBA quality come through from these three guys. It's like men playing with children. It's kind of absurd, really. And it's been a great supporting cast, and not necessarily on the stat sheet, but just getting out there and defending and running. Swagler Bullock, mate, he has been a phenomenal perimeter defender.
Just defensively, he was great on Cotton. Just to start, like you brought up a great point, Majok. We just rinsed him off the floor, basically. He couldn't stay on the floor. Against McCurmaker too, like that was also huge. Like you just go, like we threw down the gauntlet. We've got to like formally, do we have to apologize? But we formally have to just go, okay, like he answered the bell, because we sort of were making comments about him being, very raw, struggling a little bit. But he's come out in the last two games and had two superb games, and he essentially just rinsed Majok off the floor. And then as soon as Matt Hodgson came in, it was the same thing. It was like anytime Majok was 4 to 5 feet out from the basket, it was just like, someone come over here, want to go by him? Yep, thank you. And they would just go straight by him and score. And then when Hodgson came out, it was just the same thing. It was like, oh, we'll bring this guy 8 feet out and then just go by him. Like, and you could tell Perth straight away, like after those two, Vic Law and Bryce Cotton, it's very, very rough, man. It's not the same team from 2 years ago. I mean, what's his name? Mitch Norton is not there, and he can be a little bit of a mixed bag type of player, but he's also a little bit more of a heartbeat and defensive type player. But at the same time, that you take those two guys away, and they said it. The guys said it after the game. They said the plan was to take the ball out of Vic Law's hands and double team him, and make it as hard for him as possible. And you're on the risk with Bryce Cotton every time you make Cotton a scorer, you're running a risk. But you could tell it was basically 2 against 5, and all 5 of our guys contributed on the defensive end, and I think all 5 of our guys, our starters, contributed on the offensive end. And maybe not Wani, obviously, like Wani struggled, but at the same time, like he was still aggressive and pushing the ball, and it's still, I'm not like he missed a fairly straightforward layup in transition, and you kind of go, oh man, that was more one that he didn't just miss a bunny. That was one that kind of just rolled off the rim, and you kind of like, oh man, I wish that went down for his confidence. But at the same time, like you're not seeing any hesitation. Like he won't shoot it in the corner. Like a couple of times he won't shoot it, but at the same time, like he'll not shoot it and then do something with it. Like he doesn't just hold the ball. He doesn't hold up possession. He'll get it and go. He'll try and finish. And still, I think if he can kind of put something together. But defensively, man, like talk about how good he was, because on Bryce Cotton, like just smothered him to pieces. Like they must have had some practices, some scrimmages over the last few years that he was there at Perth. And to have him come over, and then it's just like, put the clamps on that guy, thank you. And that was, fantastic to watch.
It's just to always know that he's going to fight around that screen and come from behind, and that taking that shot may result in him blocking it. It puts Cotton in 2 minds so many times, and comes around the screen and then tries to kick the ball out, and they're all cold. So it's what he puts into their head more than what he actively does on the floor. You know what I mean? You know that if there's a screen that's set, he's flying around that screen, and you can either shoot it and have the ball deflected, or you can dump it off to another guy. And our perimeter defense is excellent. And we said last year, Jarrell's not the best on-ball defender or perimeter defender, but in this set, you can see that he's just slotted in nicely in that kind of low block, running out to the guy on the perimeter who's going to take a shot. You don't see him get into these situations where he's going to get blown by and there's no defending the rim. And it's smart tactical work from Buford. It really is.
Keep going.
And you've got Ian, who is just an elite on-ball defender. And the refs tried to give it to Perth in that second and the quarter.
There was, we'll get to that, but Ian Clark, man, like he's not even that good a defender. Like he's not even that good a defender, quote unquote, for the audio people. I'm like giving a quote unquote, but still you can tell his on ball is just like, oh yeah, just like have to keep pace with this guy and just keep in front of him. That's all I need to do. Like, and you can tell he does like NBA things as well. It's like he doesn't get in there and try and draw charges. He doesn't make sure he's like right up on the defender. And like doesn't get like right in front of him to like, because how many people will just I'll just bump into you, that's a foul. Like, oh, the guy was going to the basket and he bumped into him, it's a foul. And we saw a little bit of that, like you're saying. We'll get to that. But his ability to play on ball and just stay in front of people and make sure he doesn't foul. He fouls a little bit. They're mostly reaches, like silly stuff, like aggressive type stuff. But yeah, and then shooting the ball quietly, just having a 19-point night, 8 of 12. Did that feel like a 19-point night? I didn't. Like he made some timely buckets, some big threes, went to the hole a little bit, didn't get to the line, but that didn't feel like a 19-point night. I was quite surprised to see that he was second top scorer.
Yeah, it didn't feel like it, but it's he's just efficient, man. You know why I didn't feel like he was having the ball in his hand trying to score every 2 seconds? So in the NBL, you feel like the top scorer always has their ball in the hand, whereas doesn't. So much efficient shooting. It's like what Jarrell is. Jarrell's an extremely efficient shooter. He's not taking 30 chucks. It's not Casper Ware, like 28 shots a game for 21 points, you know what I mean? It's definitely more efficient. It's just quality. It really is quality.
It's great to watch. There's just way less of like the last year where they just tossed it to Jarrell after he was like buffeting around in the post and he's like 18 feet. And everyone's cleared out. He's just got to like step back and try and hit like this tough jumper. Like, this is none of that. Like he's getting wide open corner threes basically because of all the movement from our guards. And then he's essentially getting kind of these catch and carries where he can go off for 1 foot, turn inside, he can rinse a guy. And then he just kind of had the wood over pretty much anyone that came off the bench, which was great to see. And then having Cooks come back out and get 14 minutes as well and look, pretty decent. Man, his finishing around the rim has gotten better. I think Cook's like he's gotten way more stable. I know I've been watching him for a few years, the last sort of 4-ish years. You and I have kind of seen a fair bit of him, but I think his stability and keeping his body stable to make finishes, I think, is really, really improved, and that's kind of why he has been so good for us this season. And it was good to see that, you know, his touch around the rim kind of helped keep propelling us. And, you know, you're trying to keep Maker off the glass, you're trying to keep Jarrell off the glass, and then you've got Angus Glover crashing the glass as well as Cooks. And you just look at this as just a recipe for, you know, size and power. And I think, you know, we punched Perth in the mouth and they, you know, were happy to just go, okay, well, you know, we don't want to fight fire with fire here. We're down 20. And I think they were down nearly 30 at one point. I think it was a 28 or 29 point lead. And then the commentary team's like, you know, if Perth get, you know, 2 or 3 more buckets here, they might make it a game. Oh, yeah, they might make it a 20-point lead. Like, the game's over, mate. Like, what are you talking about? It was over in the first quarter. Like, I thought that was funny. But you're right. Let's talk the rubber banding, man. And I think it is rubber banding. Like, I watch a lot of this. I've been watching a lot of this league, and I'm so surprised how many teams get out to like 14, 15-point leads, and then you kind of look at the play-by-play and you're just like, there's a series of fouls in there. Like that's interesting. Like, and then look, it's a tie game. Like, you know, it's not just our team. I think it's a little bit of a league-wide thing where suddenly the refs will just start calling fouls if another team's down heaps. And they were in the bonus, I think, with like 8 minutes to go in the second quarter. Like, and then I don't think they even went to the line in that second quarter. What did they shoot? They shot 29 free throws. Like, holy moly, this game could have been even worse, man. 29 of 23, and we shot 9 of 18. Like, it was hilarious. Bryce Cotton shooting 9 of 11. Like, I don't know. I still like to take what he shoots from the free throw line and probably halve it and sort of say, like, that's, you know, that's the kind of tally that he should be shooting in a game, because I do think he gets some preferential calls, and that's okay. He's earned that right. He's been one of the best players in the league. But I also think he foul baits a little bit, and I think that's kind of an unspoken thing that nobody really sort of says that much about. He likes to flail a little bit, put himself in dangerous situations where he just gets like buffeted aside and like makes a meal of it as a little bit. And there was just no breathing space for him, I don't think. And Wani's it's a great credit to Wani for, you know, really, really putting the wood on him. And it also wanted to take me into my next point, which I've just completely blanked on Cotton. It's gone.
It kicks out way too much.
He loves trying to get a foul. It was Adams, basically. It was leading me into, I think, and I said very cryptically on the Twitter, like, I honestly think he's a better guard. I think he's much more stronger, stable. He's a better defender. He's just more durable.
He's also 4 inches taller.
Just more durable. Yeah, I think that's a huge thing. And that's no disrespect to Cotton. Like, look, he's been one of the best players in the league. And, you know, we're having our moment where we've just beaten them 3-0. And it's great to finally, you know, it's been a long time coming to finally be able to, like, have a bit of a laugh at Perth's expense. But I just think he's a better all-round guard. And it'll take a few years at this level for him to get that credibility if he stays. But I even think he had a huge impact on that game too, right? He stared down Cotton. Jalen Adams kind of stared him down and went, all right, we'll go bucket for a bit. And then, all right, like, you know, it's you versus me. And I feel like that's the first time I've seen Bryce Cotton, you know, they're down a little bit, him kind of give up the ball and not really try. I thought that was very, very interesting and very telling. Obviously they were down like 20 plus and the game's probably over by those points, but usually you get a bit more of a showing from him, and I think it's kind of been across all the games. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I think you also, they have to preserve something following week. I think, you know, you can go hard when the game's lost the game.
True.
Really. And that's the thing. It is that you want to kind of take it as they're still fighting for that, you know, there's still that in third spot now, they're still fighting for that position. There's going to be bigger fish to fry in the next couple of weeks. When really this is the closest league we've had in a long time. But those top 6 teams are really all fighting for it.
I think last year was pretty good, but yeah, I think you're right. I think if you take a step back from like ladders and games, if you look at these 5 teams, I think you could probably go, any one of these teams could probably win it here if they have a red hot run. Perth, Melbourne, and us definitely, and then the Hawks played quite well as well, and then the Phoenix could probably be on the back end, the caboose bringing up the rear end. But yeah, you were saying.
You got the Jack Jumpers, mate. Jack Jumpers.
Just burgling wins, like the Jack Burglars, man. They're just pulling off some wins out of nowhere, and it's ruining everyone's tipping experience, man. It was good, and I guess we must say that they did play against Perth, and Perth were playing a Thursday, Sunday, Saturday, or whatever it was, the Sunday, Saturday. So maybe that took a little bit out of them, but you would have thought they would have preserved that energy for that Sydney game. And it's the first time that I've seen this Kings team, and it was nasty. Like I said on Twitter, nasty, but I didn't mean like, nasty as in like fighting nasty. I kind of meant like, yeah, we'll grind you into the dust and then put the foot on your neck and then stomp. Like we've seen this team kind of grind a team, put the foot on the neck, and then the team sweeps the leg, we fall over, and then suddenly we're back 1-on-1 again, and then it's a close win. But I felt like this was a game where I haven't seen Sydney play a game where it was just like we stomped the neck, we cracked the neck, and they were lying dead, and we left and we celebrated. It's a bit of a dark meme, but I haven't seen that in this team. And it was great. I loved every minute of it. So.
It was. It's a weird to watch when you're expecting them now to win every game. Like they've proven to you that they're so efficient and so good. Bag, even if it's tight now, you're like, they've got this. This is it. They've got it to within 5 points. They're going to win these. Like it's. I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop and reality set back in. It has to be a reality point. I mean, no team is, the Warriors or the Bulls dynasty. So what game do you feel is going to be that kind of is it this week against the Jack Jumpers? We've still got 2 games against Illawarra. Brian Gorgon is a mastermind against us. What do you feel is the return to earth?
So I'm going to grab the fixtures here now. So this week we're playing the Jack Jumpers in Tasmania. I don't know, that Jack Jumpers team is, if Magnay plays well, then yeah, okay, you're going to see them play well against the Kings, because essentially they've got a big man who can combat our like 17,000 big men coming out of the woodwork. That's an Ants reference if you want to get that. But I don't know. Like looking at all these teams, like Melbourne even looked a little bit soft in the big man department. They get away with it a little bit because they've got some pretty good shooting. Perth, I just don't see. I just see 2 big men that aren't good enough to be on the floor against us. And once you take those 2 guys out, you're just looking at a very soft kind of Vic Law and Cotton. And that's still formidable. Like you're looking at that and going, yes, on any given night, that's definitely a combo, a duo that can beat a Kings team or pretty much any team in the league. The Hawks, yes, there's the gorge factor. There is still maybe not enough size, maybe. Like there's Froling.
Yeah, Ogilvy and Reith.
I've
Ogilvy,
kind of
Reith,
been watching Reith and going like, he's not that physical, and he kind of struggles a little bit when there's some bigs and there's a bit of physicality, right? That's kind of creeping into my mind. And then the Phoenix, like they don't have bigs. Like we've kind of shown that you need 2 kind of 6'10", 6'11" bigs that are chunky and have got a bit of size and power to come up against our array of big men. And look, we don't want to jinx it, touching wood here. This run is going on great. And like you touched on before, it's like, I think I'm now getting into the, like, we're going to start being disappointed if we start losing games because of how good we've been. It's like, oh, this is an unusual position to be in. Usually I'm just like, it's okay, we lost. Like, this team kind of sucks a little bit. We lost, but like watching this team, there's going to be some very interesting games. Like we're back to kind of Will Weaver territory where it was just like you're expecting wins every night. But what do you reckon about these teams?
Look, the Jack Jumpers for me are kind of that weird team that can really keep your scoring to a minimum, and it just seems like it's that New Zealand Breakers team for us. We just don't step. But I mean, This is the last loss we've had in the last games was to the Jack Jumpers, but that was not with a Ian Clark involved. So adding that, third, fourth scoring option to the team, I don't know if the Jack Jumpers have the ability. Look, mine is that we have these 2 games against the Hawks, and that for me is going to be the tough crowd. Is if we can beat the Hawks twice, I dare say that we could go all the way to the finals. That's, I think if we've matured enough to beat the Hawks twice, it's a pretty telling thing for the postseason. And, I think we can come first. The question is that do we want to come first? Like, what team do you want to play in the first round? I think, 3 games is hard, right? Because you've got to, if you get unlucky twice, you're out. But in a 5-game series, you get unlucky twice, you can 2-2. So it's kind of it's thinking strategically about what team we really want. Because I think this team's good enough to take that time.
Is it like I'm in a position where it doesn't matter. Like, I play any team. Like, I don't care. Like, the rivalry and from what we've seen, right? You kind of want to avoid Melbourne because it's Melbourne. But also knocking them out's great. Like, that'd be great if we just went into a semi. They somehow dropped to like third maybe or second and we were third or something, and you just like, we'll knock you out. Thanks. That's great. As long as we kind of meet either getting ahead of ourselves, we meet either Perth or Melbourne in a final. Like, that's great. You don't want to go out to like a Hawks or the also ran team that comes in like a Phoenix. But I still think it's a hard road either way. Like, I don't think any of these roads are going to be like, oh, we play that team and we're, like, we've got the wood over that team. Like, we should be going to the finals. Like, I think this team now, it has a level of expectation in that whoever we play, I think you can pretty safely try and, like, I was going to say expect them to win, but you can pretty safely say that, they should be tipped to at least try and win a series. Like the last season, like, a few times, like, the last like 5 or 6 years, like, we've been in positions where like you're looking at a game going, oh man, like, can we just play this team so like we have a kind of easier road to the finals? It was a little bit like that against Melbourne. Like, we kind of knew that Melbourne team was reeling and on its knees, and you were just like, let's cut their heads off, that'll be great, and go into the finals. And the Perth team was hot at that time, so you were just like, oh man, just please don't finish. Oh, we finished first, so please don't finish like second, so you have to play Perth. Like, at least Melbourne kind of limped into that final spot. But I'm kind of comfortable. Like, I'll any team, like whatever team, you like, King, like the Jack Jumpers, the Suck Humpers, whoever, like Kings in 4 type of thing, right? But this Jack, I don't know. I kind of look at these array of bigs over these 5 teams, and I'm like, I don't see a crop of bigs that matches who we've got. Like, looking at this Jack Jumpers team, we might go through a little bit more, talk about it. But Magnay and Perry in this team. And even Magnay is listed at 6'10". Who else do they have in terms of bigs? Like, we've got 3 bigs, like Jarrell, Maker, Cooks. You're probably going to have at least 2 6'10", 6'11" bigs that have some size and power. And looking at this Jack Jumpers team, they got 1. And then McVeigh, where, I don't know, McVeigh's kind of like he's listed at 6'8". I think he's probably plays more of a power forward center type position, but he shoots the ball, so he's not necessarily like a big guy. And looking at some of these teams like that we've discussed, Perth, they don't have the array of bigs. The Illawarra Hawks team, looking at their roster, Sam Froling, I feel like when we had Jordan Hunter, it was like the same guy there that you could throw it and it just kind of would cancel it out. Now we've kind of got some bigs where Joab Reith as well. If they're playing Ogilvy and Harry Froling and Gak in any kind of, comparable minutes that are important, like, they're in trouble, like, if that's happening, right? Looking at Melbourne, Luala Chul, I'm just bringing them up here. Luala Chul's obviously probably one of the best bigs in the league. I think he's been a little bit up and down, and has some issues with chunk as well. Like, he's not a powerful big. but he's very skilled and very good around the rim. And you look at them, he's a 7-footer, and then Hakporti is very raw. He's been quite like decent, but raw. And then Jack White. You would look at those three and still kind of just go, that's kind of on par. Like that's on paper, that's a little bit on par. Like, and maybe we've got the edge because of Jarrell and Cooks. But and then the other part of it, like going through that, you look at our team and you're not like a Perth going like, oh, if you take two of those guys out, like they're in trouble. It's like, no. We've got Jalen Adams, Clark. DJ's coming into some great form. We didn't talk about him, but he's looking like knowing where that space is now. And it's just like, oh, if I stand here, I've got this space. And, I just go one dribble to the left and he's hitting him. He's hitting those threes. He's getting fouled as well, which is great on those closeouts. He's got a shot.
Yeah.
And then it's like, don't sleep on Wani. Wani might get some scoring going, but at the same time, he's on the floor to play defense. And, how many guards in this league are you looking at and going, Wani's going to have a tough night on that guy? Like, maybe a Garda or someone like that, or like a Tyler Harvey and Jessup, maybe. But yeah, like going through some of these rosters, like I'm kind of looking at this Kings team and going, you know what, we've got some size and power in both, the guards and the forward positions. Like, I'd love to see a steamroll.
Yeah.
We've peaked quite early. 9 in a row is a big peak, and I'm hoping it doesn't just fall away, but. Yeah, this has just been one of the better seasons over the last 6 years, up there with that season when we had Jayshawn Tate, where we almost felt invincible playing any team when you have Jayshawn Tate on the court.
Exactly.
Let's quickly do a 3-2-1 and then some tips, and then we'll talk quickly just about some of the games coming up a little bit more if we have anything else to ring out of the conversation. So, 3-2-1.
England 3.
Yep.
Jarrell 2 and Adams 1.
Jarrell, Adams. I had Adams as my 3. 8 assists. I think he had 8 assists. 8 assists, 20 points, 7 of 10, 4 of 5 from 3. And just some like, no, yes. And like shots that I look at and just go, those are not going to go down soon. And what else have you got? But watching him get 8 assists, like you can tell he just knows where people are, and it's not a struggle. You don't like watch it, like, how many times have we just harked on about Casper, dump it inside. Don't try and finish through traffic. Like, what are you doing? Like, he just knows where everyone is, and he goes up high, goes down low. He'll find someone on a trail, on a curl. Like, he'll find anyone anywhere basically, and it's in this rhythm. Like, he doesn't have to struggle to find anyone. He doesn't have to work hard to get other people buckets. It's just in the rhythm of flow and the offense, and it's fantastic. Yeah, so I went for 3 for him, Clark for 2. And then I thought McCurmaker deserved 1. I thought McCurmaker deserved 2 as well, but you can't give 2 lots of 2. You just got to give a 2 and a 1. And I thought McCurmaker had a great game, man, and in front of the scout as well.
He had a very good game.
Let's talk quickly before we do tipping. Like I covered it sort of early in the show. Like we did, say he's a bit raw, like a little bit of sausage hands and sausage brain a little bit as well, where, doing some silly things on the court. Man, he's tightened it up. Like Cook's going down and saying to him, like, here's the line in the sand. Now you must cross that line and be mature and play well for this team, because that's going to be, you have a huge mantle to carry and a huge opportunity to grow yourself. And it was the first game, like I got these sparks of like that first game where you would just look at it and go, wow, if this dude can put it together, like how powerful is he? And that nothing encapsulated it, like that sweet twirl at the end of that second quarter, the end of just before halftime, where we dialed up a play with, I think, like, two or 3 seconds on the clock, and it's a twirl, it's an out of bounds, and there's a screen, and he's just wide open and just dunked it with authority too, like massive authority. I think he blocked someone. I think he blocked Cotton as well, like a massive block as well. So just, I think, hats off to him, and I think he deserves to kind of start at the moment in this kind of form. And then you got that safety net of having Cooks coming off the bench, which, it's great for us to just have that safety net coming off the bench as well. But yeah, anything you wanna do you want to formally apologize?
Yeah, well, there's no stress to rush Cook back.
Yeah,
I don't think there's
which also is great.
That's the whole thing, right? That's it. You can just leave him come back on his own time. You've got this. You're not rushing this guy back a little bit undercooked because you're worried that this slot's not filled. They're winning without Cooks. They can win better with Cooks. They can win with Maker. That's just let's be able. They could win with a bum off the street. Like it's all the same, mate.
Yeah, you and I could probably play small ball 5 and we'd win.
That's it, mate. Small ball 5 and Ben Puffed. That would be
yeah, be puffed for sure.
Rainbow Ben Puffed.
I could shoot a good rainbow though. Baseline, get me baseline. Jalen would find me. But I also, just before we get into tipping, wanted to shout out your mate Tommy V for that backcourt steal. That was pretty funny. He went to go behind the back on Travis. Did you see that? No, you didn't see it. You don't see anything Tommy does that's bad. You don't see. It just is wild.
Do see, but he's a bit sausage. He's a bit sausage, but
look. Just to quickly touch on that, look, I'm okay. Like if he's playing 2 minutes a game, that's kind of a bonus for us. Like it's not great for him, and we think like he can come into a game and have an effect and play hard. But if he's only playing 2 minutes a game and we're getting these comprehensive performance, that's also a pretty big plus. Whereas, and look, Sean Bruce is not there. Like we haven't had to talk about him and, hogging the ball and kind of cluttering up the offense a little bit. That's all like he's going to come back as well. So like far out, like, and you're talking about other guys like Glover who, Bales Bales gets the ball and just takes shots and you could tell everyone just goes, all right, Balesy, take your shots, mate. And then Glover, yeah. Anyway, let's quickly move on to the tipping. I've got the list of games here. Once again, I haven't got it updated inside the spreadsheet, but I'll start out. It is the Hawks playing at home to the Bullets.
I think the Hawks are going to be on red hot form.
The Hawks are looking pretty good. I will also go the Hawks. How about the Bullets in that game against New Zealand coming back right at the end? I'd updated the spreadsheet. I'd turned the game off. Like they were down 2 possessions. And then like 2 days later, I get a message in the group, a message in the tipping thing, like Brisbane had won. Like what? I'm like, what? No, they didn't. Like, what are you talking about? And then I go back and they won this game. I'm like, what the hell? Like, all right, fair enough. This works for me. I got the tip. So sweet. LA 36ers are at home to the Jack Jumpers.
Jack Jumpers, I think.
JJ's, mate. Another thing to be said is that the Jack Jumpers are playing a Friday, Sunday against us. So we're in a great position. We got all our games out of the way early, and we're having to have these teams come up against us where they got to play 2 games. It's like sucked in. Yeah, we got our games out of the way early, man. It's all good. I'm going to go 36ers. I thought they were pretty comprehensive against the Phoenix. But then again, it's a Jack Jumpers. The Jack Jumpers.
It's just hot and cold, man.
Yeah, both teams are like that. So it's the unstoppable hot and cold versus the immovable hot and cold. So let's see what happens. Now, another huge game. Melbourne United are playing at John Cain Arena against the Hawks.
We're going to have to go Melbourne. I think it's going to be hard to back up to a Thursday, Saturday against Melbourne.
They also played pretty badly, man.
They did, but that's...
And
Vickerman will have them in.
They played badly too, right? Like it wasn't like, whoa, the Hawks were great. Like the United were just rough. And they have a couple of like scoring holes. A couple of like, if you're relying on Delhi a bit too much, if you're relying on Newley to come off the bench and spark your offense a little bit, like, interesting.
You're going to be struggling.
Cairns Taipans versus the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix. That is at Cairns. I was going to say Magic then.
I'm going to have to go Phoenix. These are all must-win games for Phoenix. So you've got a sense of desperation there.
Yeah, you never know, man. They are plummeting at the moment. They beat the Types. So yeah, I'm going Phoenix as well. Then the Jack Jumpers are at home to the Sydney Kings.
Sydney Kings on that one?
Yeah, 10 in a row. Let's go. And the Jack Jumpers stop the Kings' run with a burglary, 66-58. Like what? Brisbane Bullets are playing at Nissan against the 36ers.
Bullets.
I'm going 36ers. I think There's a couple of 36ers wins on the cards here. Like the old they desperately tried late to make a run and didn't quite make it. The old Adelaide story of just they didn't quite make the finals. What a shame. And they keep the coach and don't retool their roster every time. New Zealand Breakers at my state against the Types.
Breakers.
Man, I got a soft spot for the Breakers. They'll probably get beat by the Taipans. The Taipans have been playing a little bit better as well, but some of these, the Breakers could easily be they're 5-17. They could easily be 11-12 or 12-10. Like some of these games they've played really well in and just lost, and you're just going, oh man, I feel for this team. Playing every game away from home too. Perth is also the final game at RAC against Melbourne. Another huge game.
Huge game. I'm going to go Melbourne in that game.
I like it. I'm in on Melbourne as well. Huge. A couple of there's massive games coming, man. And how good does it feel to be sitting pretty? That was the last game of the round, so yeah, that's all locked in. But just to be sitting pretty and just watching these, okay, you guys duke it out now. We've played all our games. We played all our big games, man. You guys duke it out now. That's just such a great feeling.
Yeah, they're getting their busy rounds in now, and yeah, we're gonna have our last couple of weeks of busy rounds. I think the double game weeks next too. So
let's quickly look at that. Yes. So yeah, we're playing the Jack Jumpers after they play the Friday, Sunday. Then next round, we are playing the 36ers, who will be fresh on a Saturday night. And then we play Tuesday against the Breakers. So it's that's not a real back-to-back. That's a Saturday. Yeah, Saturday, Tuesday. If that was a bigger game, you might go, fair enough. And then we play...
The following week is a Thursday, Sunday.
It's a Tuesday, Thursday. So that was what I was getting to. Yeah, Tuesday Breakers, okay, Thursday Hawks. So that's where it's man, come on, league, do us a bit of a favor. And Sunday, then, we play Sunday against the 36ers. So that's a little bit, we were just oh no, we've got everything out of the way, and then we just look at the roster and look at the fixtures, and it's well, actually, we're about to play 6 games in 15 days. So yeah, good luck. But that whole, I think we'll try and go to that 36ers game. Yep.
We've got a double week to finish it as well, so we've got 3 double weeks to finish this season.
And then Types Thursday. So what are we looking at? Sunday, Thursday Types, and then Thursday, Sunday Hawks. I don't know, just knowing that we don't have to play big teams in this little run. It's good that it's a string you along type scenario where it's just just have to keep playing games, and they're not blockbusters. We're not playing Perth and then Melbourne and then Perth again and then the Hawks and the Phoenix. What a gauntlet to get us home. I think our rhythm, it might be good for us to keep running on that treadmill and keep this fast-paced offense going. That's the other part too. Have you seen any signs of this team where it's all of this running we're doing, man, we're gonna hit the wall soon? This team looks fit and firing, and that's also, I'm looking at this going wow, for the speed we played at the start of the season, everything was frantic, everything was fast-paced, all about transition, get up the court, get down the court. This team still looks fit and firing, and that's great. Yep. It's great. It's awesome stuff. But yeah, anything else you want to talk about in those games?
No, I think we will. I'm expecting wins, but yeah, this is the calm before the storm this last week, and it's a crazy watch schedule.
It's gonna be good. Yeah, we'll try and get out to that 36ers game at home before the end of the season. Yeah, with the kids. That's going to be fun, isn't it? Yeah, that's going to be brutal. My little one's got a broken arm, so that's fun. Get ready for a broken arm. But yeah, it'll be good. And then we might try and get to one of the finals games as well. What do you reckon? That's going to be pumping, man, for how good we've been playing this season. We haven't really talked much about the heartbeat of what Cameron Curtis is saying that number 1 spot is a possibility. I think it is. We're not going to jinx it, but very, very, very on the cusp here. But I think one of the things that hasn't really been talked about that much by us this season is like the heartbeat of this team's kind of back. Like the crowd's in it. We're playing good basketball. We're kind of back in that sort of sense too, right? So I'm hoping,
Yeah,
more
I think
people
in
get
this
to the game. Yeah.
post COVID era, I think we're going to get good turnouts for the last couple of weeks, knowing how good this team is, and potentially getting back to our first final series in a couple of years, and
because that Melbourne game where we
maybe
beat Melbourne, that was one of the best games that I've seen, or one of the best nights of basketball I've had in a long time. I think my voice, I did something to my voice that night because I was going off. That was when it was Cooks, didn't it? Strip the ball right at the end. He I think he
yes.
stripped it from Golding, yeah. And then they had Sean Long just shooting threes at the end. It was like, who's taking the big shots in these moments? There's three of them in the final minute, and Sean Long took 2 threes, and you're just like, yes, of course. We want you taking threes every time over Chris Golding. But yeah, we're definitely going to look at that top spot and just be like, yeah, we're coming for you. So, tighten up the shorts and let's go for it. I think we'll leave it there. So it's been a good show. It was euphoric. It was a great win to dust Perth 3-0. Finally, after a while of they've had the wood over us, and we've been very respectful to the Perth team and accepting of it. But yeah, I think we're entitled to have a bit of a gloat here because that was a phenomenal performance and very indicative and very ominous for the end of this season. But yeah, as always, we have been live on Facebook right now. We are live, so on Monday nights we endeavor to get these. They're getting a little bit late due to just life and everything that's going on. So hopefully out there you can give us a like on Facebook and give us a like on the page itself to get us out there to more Kings fans. We are putting these up on YouTube as well. So premiering these the next day at 5 o'clock. So if you want to watch these in replay, then just chuck over there and it'll be premiering tomorrow afternoon. And then if you want to listen to us on audio platform, give us a like and subscribe on iTunes, on Google Podcasts, on Spotify, because we go out onto the Anchor platform. And if you can't find us, I'm pretty sure that serves a fair few for your network. So if you can't find us, drop us a line and we'll see if we can try and get some audio out to you. And yeah, until the next game, the next week, we will see you guys next time
On the King's Dome.